Please be seated. Praise God for revealing himself through his word. And happy St. Stephen's Day. This is the official day to celebrate St. Stephen, even though we move it to February where we can pay more attention. And it's kind of a bizarre coincidence, I think, that we have this Martyrs' Day, this same Sunday, as we have the murder of the innocent little children in Bethlehem. All this blood after celebrating Christmas and the birth of our holy God-child. The killing of these innocents by Herod the Great is a situation that tends to befuddle non-believers. How could God let these children die? You know, sometimes evil just inserts itself into our lives. It's not a matter that we deserve it and we've done something bad. It might not even be a matter that God is testing our faith. People who do evil have the same free will as we do, as people who do good. They have the right and the will to lie, cheat, rape, murder, and hurt us in any other way possible. If God controlled and stopped every evil act, we would be puppets by God. We wouldn't have free will. It would become a farce. And so those children in Bethlehem did not die because God let them die. They died because some cruel soldier put a sword through their little bodies, and their hearts stopped. Why did this happen? Why did it happen? In the years BCE, before Christ, Israel had conquered southern Palestine and forced the people there to convert to Judaism. So Herod the Great actually was raised a practicing Jew, although his parents were of Arab origin. And this would come to haunt him because he would always be seen by the Jewish community as being a foreigner. Herod's political success was basically influenced by his father's wealth and position, and the fact that his father married the daughter of a noble. This is the time of Julius Caesar, and he favored this family by giving the father Roman citizenship, which automatically passed down to the son, Herod. Now, Herod's father made him the governor of Galilee. And Mark Antony, yes, of Antony and Cleopatra fame, raised Herod to a higher position of tetrarch. And about 6 years later, Rome made Herod the king of Judea, king of the Jews. And he was given an army to maintain that position, which he actually held for 32 years. Now, as Rome expanded its military and political control of the Middle East, Herod worked hard to maintain control over Palestine, and he didn't like it at all when Mark Antony gave some of his land to Cleopatra. These lands were later restored, but it's going to give us an idea of the position that Herod had, as well as his growing paranoia and distrust. Now, Herod built a lot of cities and embellished them, but always put a fortification there, as well as fortifications between the cities, so that he would be protected no matter where he went. And he was always in conflict with the Pharisees, the leading faction of Judaism, because they saw his Arab origin and said, "You're a foreigner." Within Herod, of course, we have a dark, cruel streak, which became more evident as he aged and his mental stability declined. He was violently jealous of his first wife and divorced the first wife and banished her son. Then he married Mariam, a princess, and in the end, he killed her. He killed her 2 sons. He killed her brother. He killed her grandfather. He killed her mother. This is the kind of man Herod was. Toward the end of his life, just before the visit of the Magi, he disinherited and killed his firstborn son. Now, what kind of a man does that? this history. Jesus was born actually about 6 BCE. And Herod died 2 years later in 4 BCE. So he was violent, paranoid, not well, had very bad judgment at that point due to arteriosclerosis. And so now, here the Magi arrive and say the magic words, "Where is the one who is born King of the Jews?" Oops, isn't that Herod's title? So who is this interloper? He's had a hard enough time maintaining control, much less somebody else being born to take over his position, which rightly belonged to his son. So Herod interviewed the Jewish chief priests and the teachers of the law, and they told him that out of Bethlehem will come a ruler who will be the shepherd of my people, Israel. Now, there's a direct threat to his authority. Add that threat to his usual paranoia, his difficulty in maintaining control over Judea and Galilee, and maybe we can understand, but never justify his next decisions. He asked the Magi, "When did this star appear?" and sent them on their way saying, "Hey, please let me know where they are so I can go and worship him." Yeah, right. Ain't gonna happen. But he now knows when the child was born, a little less than 2 years ago, and from the biblical prophecy that it's in Bethlehem. You know, I've often wondered, if these Magi had followed the star so far to Israel and Jerusalem, why didn't they follow it further to Bethlehem? Why did they stop in Jerusalem and ask?